Good morning, Stu Wolf here again, and I want to talk about a router table that I actually built that goes on my Shopsmith Mark 7 520, whichever you want to call it. About 35 years ago I built a standalone router table and I mounted a router in it and everything else, and it worked pretty well for me. It was big. I mean, the thing's about 2.5 feet wide and it's a full 2.5 feet deep. But unfortunately, it's over there. And I have two Model A's in between the workshop and the router table, so it just doesn't get used anymore because I've got to start pulling cars out, I got to do this, I got to do that, and it just doesn't work for me most of the time. So I decided I wanted to try to see what I could do about getting a router table set up that would mount on my Mark 7. I figured, what the heck? I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's got the table system, it's got the rail system. I said, I can always build a table that will fit in, and actually, I figured I'd build a couple wooden cleats that would go around the rails. I said, that'll keep it nice and tight, and this will work well. Well, I changed my mind in the middle of it, of course. And I decided that I would locate a set of 520 main table rails and mount it with that, because I wanted to be able to use my my rip fence with it. And this way I could put a sacrificial board on the rip fence, I could put dust collection on the rip fence, I could do a bunch of things like that. Now I will tell you, I haven't built dust collection for it yet, but I do have a plan. And once I get that done, I will show you what I did. What I did was I found a set of rails, and you can find them on eBay occasionally. I don't know if you could buy them from Shopsmith, just the main table rails. It may be possible, but I don't have an answer to that one. But I found a set of rails, and I started putting the whole thing together. And I found that it works really well. All right, let me turn this around and I'll show you what I've done. I'm going to try not to be too jerky, but you and I both know if we're shooting this with a okay, this is what it looks like right now. This is my router table. I'll come around the other side. Actually, I'll come around this side and do it this way. I'll pop this out. I have to loosen up the hold downs. Come on. Okay. It's not real fancy. It's a piece of 3/4 inch plywood with some scrap 1-inch oak that's screwed to it, and it's set up so that the oak's screwed to it so I can put the three, whoops, you can't really see me because I'm in the way, see? But I put screws in to hold it to the oak. I actually used my, let me put this up again. Oh, up you go. I've used larger knobs, and they hang up right here. They hang up right here, so you have to twist it to make sure they're right. I took the stationary base plate from my Porter Cable 960 router and mounted it on here permanently, because 99% of the time I use the router with a, go blank wolf, with a plunge base on it. So I said I could just, hook this here, and this way I can just put the router in, screw it in, I could set it to whatever I want. But the neat thing that I've discovered now, get this tied in. Now this does a number of things with this table. Number one, suddenly I've got a ton of table width. Just got a whole bunch of table width, so it's a lot easier to cut wider pieces on this thing. I can still take my, let me come over here. I can still put another set of rails here and put my extension tables over here. And I've got, I don't know, at least 4 feet of table, probably 6 or 8 with it. So this actually adds a fair amount of table space for me. So that's kind of neat. I really like that aspect of the whole thing. I can also, sorry, it's an iPad. I can also take out this end table, leave this hooked to this, take this out, reverse it, and I can, as I've shown you in a prior video, set it up and build an outfeed table using my floating tables. So this gives me more capability. I'm really pleased with it. I'm going to bend down. My rip fence goes on as normal, but the great thing is suddenly I've got a tremendous, whoops, bring that up. I've got a tremendous amount of width that I can set my rip fence for, and I've still got a table support and everything in the middle. So, you know, it's a work in progress, I'm going to tell you that. As I said, I can bring the router bit up, I can mount a sacrificial piece on the rip fence, and I can bring it right in. And, you know, bury the bit so I can, you know, I can work with it that way. But, you know, suddenly I'm able to do a lot of different things with this, and I think it's a really neat idea. So as I say, if you can find a set of rails like this, you can use 520 rails. If you can't find 520 rails, I see 510 rails for people who've upgraded out on eBay all the time. You can get one of them and use your 510 fence in this area. It's not as good a fence as this one, but it's a perfectly adequate fence. So I just figured I'd throw that out for you. It's an idea. It's almost free. I mean, you know, I think I paid $100 for the rails. So, I mean, it was very inexpensive if you really look at the whole thing. And it suddenly gives me more capability. It adds to the saw table. It gives me a router table. It does a whole bunch of things like that. So if you've got a router that you want to mount under it, have at it. Routers are relatively cheap. And you can mount one permanently, or you can take it on and off like I do. Anyway, that's an idea. I hope it helps someone do some woodworking and increase the capability of their Shopsmith. Have a great day. Bye-bye.